I recognize that when we're talking about renewing, in the book of Romans, Paul says, do not be conformed to this world. You see, the world is always trying to conform you to their thoughts and their values and their philosophies. They always want to put you in a mold. And Paul says, don't be conformed. Don't let them put you in that mold. He says, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Construction, renovation. God constructs the mind. He changes our mind. And here I began to think about construction. I thought, well, the first thing that construction starts with is a permit. You need a permit that says you can do work here. The only person that can give God a permit and permission is you and me. We sign on the dotted line and we say, God, work here. You have permission. You have a permit to come in and renovate the place. And God's a gentleman. God says, I come by invitation. See, the devil is a thief. He'll break in. God will never break in. God never breaks in. God says, invite me. Invite me. And so you give God permission. And then we have the project. But the beauty of God, what he does is, because God is a reverse engineerist, he says, let me show you what the project will look like when it's done. Let me show you the final product so that you know what we are working towards. My friends, listen, any work of art, remember I said in Ephesians that we are God's workmanship, we're God's masterpiece. Any work of art, the artist in their mind, they see where they're headed. Whatever famous painting you've ever seen, the Mona Lisa. You think he just, no, he saw her. And he said, now I'm going to impose it on paper. See, that's the difference between an artist and someone that just sees things. I can see the Mona Lisa too. Well, it's going to be a much different rendering, let me tell you. Mine would be more like a Picasso, who I think was out of his mind. But that's another story, right? So all of a sudden, God shows us, here's the final product. And then watch what happens. All of a sudden, the project begins. And if you know anything about renovations, I have some construction workers here, you know that renovations get messy. They get dirty, they get nasty. You walk in and you go like, well, this room was better before. Pastor Carolyn's now renovating, she's just cleaning decluttering one of the rooms. And yesterday I walked in and I thought, oh, it's worse than it was before. Because you have to make a mess to clean a mess. And so God comes into your life and he goes, I don't like the wallpaper. I don't like the paint. I don't like that furniture. And because he thinks he's boss, he begins to move things. He begins to change things. And all of a sudden, you don't like the mess and you don't like the way it's going. And you say to God, well, who died and made you boss? And he says, Jesus. He says, I bought you. Look at the contract. He says, I bought you. My blood bought you. You signed on the contract. I have permission. But you see, as human beings, when we get into the midst of it, there's been times we've had some plumbing leaks, and you call the plumber and he comes in and he starts cutting holes in the wall and in the ceiling. I'm like, bro, can't you fix it without doing that? He goes, well, the plumbing is behind here, sir. And I'm like, are you going to fix that? He goes, no, I'm the plumber. You need a... To be very honest, those holes are still there. Honest to God. I keep looking at them, man, and like, close, and they don't. God is a master renovator, but sometimes it gets messy. We're not happy, and then we say to the instruction, stop, just stop. Stop here, just stop it. And they go, okay, and they leave. Then you have to bring them back. And God forbid you get the wrong construction people and then you want them to stop. And I just went through a process where we renovated my mom's house a little bit, and there was this wallpaper. My God, I think wallpaper is demonic, honestly. You can't get that stuff off the walls if you go to Home Depot and you have an idea, oh honey, let's get some wallpaper. Stop in Jesus' name, stop. peeling that stuff off, plaster coming off, and having to fix the holes, and then primer, and then painting, and in the midst of it, you're like, oh my God, are we going to come out of this thing? What is going to happen here? Especially when you're not a handyman. You're like, can you fix it? Like, well, and then they go like this, trust me. God says, trust me. I know the final product. God says, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing with you. And my friends, listen, sometimes, we watch God do construction on other people, and we're like, are you going to do that construction on me? He goes, no, you're your own work of art. Focus on me. I know the plans I have for you. I know the renovations I need to do in your life. Don't superimpose yourself. But my friends, listen, and forgive me for the real estate agents that are here, my friend. I'm still your friend. I still love you, and those that are watching online. And they did something called staging. Eh? Like they make the house look like nobody's house ever looks like. It's like I walked in there, I was like, my mother would hate this place. It was like pristine and different. It was very artistic. Like what's amazing? Everybody wants their house to look like that, but it doesn't. Nobody can live like that. Then the real estate agent says to me, listen, you go into that house, do not sit on those chairs. I said, well, why? She goes, well, first of all, they're rented. She goes, but second of all, they're fake. The majority of the stuff in that house is fake. I said, you gave me a fake renovated house, but it looks good. You see, listen to me, church. Many people's lives are like that. They're filled with fake furniture. They're a facade. They want you to think that they're all put together and they come out of a magazine. It's not a reality. But Jesus said, I am making a masterpiece. My stuff isn't fake. I can't tell you, Kimberly, how much fake fruit I had to pull out of my mother's house. You know that? Anybody know what I'm talking about? Looks nice. You throw it at somebody, you're going to wound them. That looks good, looks perfect, but it's fake. You can't eat it. God says, I'm going to give you fruit that is going to nourish other people. God says to us, stop being plastic, stop being fake, stop the facade, stop sowing the fig leaves. He said, I want to get to the root of the issues of your life so that you will be the real deal.